While we're starting that up, let me check Restream and the YouTube chat, make sure that it's working. And just give TikTok stream a try as always. Probably doesn't work again, but okay.
I know him.
So let's check in YouTube. Okay, live on YouTube. So yeah, it's kind of loud, huh? Cause I got.
Can you ensure that you have access to the Medium article that I sent you, Dennis? That's all good, is it?
Yeah, it's all good. It's on my screen right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see there. I see. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cool.
So live on YouTube. Give it a try on TikTok while everyone is rolling in first. Okay. Going live on TikTok. Really hope I get a stream key. Okay, yeah, it doesn't even work anymore. I need to wait for a stream key from TikTok. Anyways, okay, let's go from there then. Okay, welcome everyone to another week's BaconDAO community call. Every week, this is our DAO sort of governance update call with most other DAO communities. But for us, we're very educational focused. So this has carried over for a couple months now as a tradition where we sit down every Sunday to go through the week's latest news and happenings in the crypto world. We go over Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin dominance, TA, a bit of news in BSC, Polkadot, and layer 2 low cap stuff. That was the typical altcoin coverage we had. And then we just do a bit of Q&A and BaconDAO updates after. So this week, we're going to do a little bit more organic-like because we are getting very close to our official DAO launch with, our goal is to be a very user-focused and community-driven content sort of provider / community where anyone can talk about what they think are interesting and request for us to review stuff and cover stuff that is actually useful to them rather than we just presenting what we think is like, top down. This is a much more fair model. So that's why I started a poll earlier this week to say, well, not earlier this week, just yesterday. Should have started this earlier, but which topics do you want us to cover in this Sunday's community call? And it seems like a lot of people are interested in Ethereum TA, Bitcoin dominance, Bitcoin TA. I added a potential Axie scholarship. We're going to talk about that. People seem to be interested in that, as well as the latest BaconDAO updates. And then we'll spend a bit less time on the Polkadot, BSC, and layer 2 stuff after, because that doesn't seem as interesting as just kind of what I've seen from the chat for the past couple of weeks as well. And just a note, after this week's call, I'm going to start a new poll and ideas kind of thread just like this. And you guys can give us ideas on what to cover for next week. We're going to have the main topics like Bitcoin and Ethereum, Bitcoin dominance TA, as well as some altcoin picks that we think are interesting for the week. But aside from that, anyone can suggest stuff. And as long as we have the capability, and depending on which kind of category it is in, we'll find the right contributor to potentially tackle those. That'll probably be more interesting. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's just go with the same kind of order as usual. So usually we have Crypto 101, but we took that out for this week again, I think, because that's more of an educational recap. But let's start off with Viper's BSC coverage this week. Viper, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? So we had something really interesting happen last week. For those of you who were keeping up with BSC, there was something called Stable Magnet, and they had a really big, yeah, pretty much a rug. They pretty much rugged over $21 million. And so very, very interesting, and some positive news to start is that after 2 weeks, someone actually caught them, and there's now a recovery fund for all of those who were affected. I'll read off just a couple of these tweets. Someone named Crypto Ogles, kind of big in the BSC space, they tweeted saying, after 2 weeks of literally chasing down the stable magnet guys and girls who stole over $20 million from innocent victims on BSC, most of the money is now recovered. Let it be a lesson to scammers and thieves. The world doesn't stop at your computer screen. And they said that sending money off of BSC and onto ETH and throwing it in circles with Tornado Cash, fleeing from countries and hiding your identities doesn't work every time. You might just be awakened by a surprise knock on the hotel door like these guys were. So it's really, really nice to see some justice served. This is definitely the minority. It's very, it's not likely that people who rug or steal or scam are prosecuted. And, with crypto lacking a lot of regulation and with pseudonymity, that's even a word, it's very hard to catch people, especially with tools like tumblers such as Tornado Cash. And if you don't know what a tumbler is, it's just basically where everyone sends their money to a protocol that is designed for this, and it just kind of mixes around the money so that way it'll send you money, but you don't know where that money was coming from. So it's a way that some people kind of money launder and stuff like that. So that was awesome to see. Now, I didn't want to start off with bad news, but there were a few more flash loan attacks last week. ApeSwap's Space BNB farming pool had a flash loan attack. Swampy was flash loan attacked. And then Bunny on Polygon was flash loan attacked. They were also flash loan attacked on BSC, so it's kind of ridiculous. I will warn you guys this, though, and this is just allegedly, I'm not pointing fingers at certain protocols or anything, but a lot of these are inside jobs, especially, from the teams. They know how their token works. They know how to protect it. Not saying all of them, I won't even say majority. I'll just say that sometimes it's an insider attack. So just be careful. Like I said, always diversify your investments. Don't go all in on something, and just really do your due diligence. Also in the news, DeFi Pi, their app was hacked. ApeSwap added governance, so that was kind of cool. Now they have a governance token, or their token has governance now. Walt Finance, they boosted some of their pools like the Alpaca pool. But they also are coming out with a new stablecoin model called Walt USD. So we'll see how that plays out. The PancakeSwap farm auctions, like I covered last week, have been live. This is kind of cool. PancakeSwap is now using Chainlink for their lottery. And what this means is there's an increase of randomness and equity, which, if you don't know, Solidity, one of the things that sucks about Solidity is you cannot put a code to randomize, or true randomization on Solidity. It's not a feature of Solidity. So the way you do it is either you write some sort of algorithm, which of course is not true randomization. It's still written in. And then the only other options are off-chain methods, such as an oracle like Chainlink. And so by them doing Chainlink, there will be more of a sense of randomness and fairness. So it's kind of only relevant if you participate in their lotteries, but it's nice to see that it's going to be more random, So that's kind of it for the news. Just please be safe. If you were affected by the stable magnet and you seek recovery, I mentioned it many times last week. And just go in the BSC chat if you don't see it, and I'll direct you that way. But anyways, have a great week, guys.
Thanks, Viper, for the in-depth coverage of BSD again. Yeah, a lot of these would be inside jobs. Like, you wouldn't have the same kind of exploits and happening week after week, right? And then when you have an exploit, it also kind of gives them a way out of they can kind of. I'm not calling any specific projects, but there are definitely some insider jobs that will be out there where they can kind of easily cash out and not take the blame for it, and doesn't even have to necessarily like take any tax implications there. So yeah, just be careful. Okay, so next up, let's move to the Polkadot coverage for this week. I'm not sure if Mahi's on the call. Mahi, you here? Let me check.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, let's do Polkadot next. The same thing about news and happenings. Of course, it'll be heavily focused on the crowd loan and slot auctions. So, yeah, take it away.
Okay, hello guys. Today I'll be recapping the Polkadot ecosystem news and developmental updates. I'll just keep it short and read what I have written down. Kala Network has won the 4th Kusama parachain slot auction. The Web3 cloud computing project Kala by Fala Network successfully won the auction for the 4th parachain slot on Kusama. The winning bid was 132,280 KSM, which was nearly the same as the winner of the previous slot auction, Shitten Network. According to Kala's crowd loan bid, all users who pledged KSM to Kala before the second round of slot auctions on June 22nd will receive an additional early bird honor gem NFT, and everyone gets another NFT based on how much KSM they contributed. So everyone basically everyone who supported Kala gets the Fala bonus and the 2 NFTs. As a Kusama parachain, Kala intends to build a Ethereum bridge and make advances in decentralized cloud computing. So with Kala now making blocks on Kusama, it's the 5 parachains are State Mine, Karura Network, Moon River, Shitten Network, and now Kala Network. It was a really big week for Clover Finance. Clover Finance made big steps for the entire Polkadot ecosystem. It earned several centralized exchange listings. The CLV token was listed on Coinbase, Coinbase Pro, KuCoin, Mexi, Gate.io, and FTX all on the same day. I attribute this mass interest from all these exchanges to the technology and the token sale. Clover had a very successful public sale on CoinList. As a result, the project has an abundance of funding, and the token is designed invested ideally. Clover Finance also has several successful bridges between BSC, ETH, and Clover that are working, and these bridges are highly efficient and relatively inexpensive. I'm actually a fan of Clover, what they've been doing. They've been making big moves. Like, they were the first ever Polkadot project to secure a CoinList sale. Now, besides Polkadot themselves, they're the first to get on Coinbase. Like, they beat Kusama to Coinbase, which I find kind of funny. But yeah, that's Clover, and they're gonna continue to make moves. And I think Clover and their Kusama branch, which is Sakura Network, I think once they have their crowd loan, I think they'll get a Kusama parachain slot relatively easy. This week, the Polkadot team published an article outlining the case for candle auctions. So I wanted to read an excerpt from this article because candle auctions are kind of a confusing topic, and many don't understand why crowd loans go the way they do. Parachain auctions end the way they do, with this ambiguous ending period where the auction could end at any time. So I want to read something from this. So recent research at the Web3 Foundation suggests that the candle auction helps with 2 major issues typically faced by blockchain-based auctions: front-running in the presence of smart contracts among bidders. The candle auction format is able to mitigate all 3 problems caused by front-running, which is low utility for the disadvantaged bidder, low revenue, low efficiency. Also, as long as the numbers of rounds are finite, there will be a cost to shill bidding. So basically, this guarantees that it's not always the highest bidder that's going to win the auction, because I mean that's a flawed system. Because on Kusama and Polkadot, there isn't, the slots aren't specifically allocated to a project. Say like there isn't 20 for NFTs and 20 for DeFi, so it's in the Kusama's best interest to, and the Kusama community, to support diverse crowd loan projects in different niches. Like they'll support something like RMRK for NFTs, Karura for DeFi, and Fala for cloud computing, so that they have, the Kusama network has all of these different assets, and that's why candle auctions exist. So different things can have opportunities to win parachain slots. Given these properties, we should expect the candle auction to become a standard mechanism for any auction to run on the blockchain. If you want to know more, I definitely recommend reading that article. It's really long, but it's really good, I'd say. And one more thing about parachain auctions. We've done 4 right now, and right now we're in the middle of a 5th. I think the front runners in this auction are Bifrost Finance and Basilisk Finance by Hydra DX. And after this auction, there's going to be a break for a week or so, and I think they're going to decide if they're ready to proceed with Polkadot auctions or not, or just continue doing more Kusama auctions. But just know after this 5th auction there will be a break. And lastly, this is a pretty important news. Bondly Finance urges users to stop trading following an alleged exploit. The decentralized e-commerce platform Bondly Finance is the latest decentralized finance platform to suffer an alleged exploit. The developer team advised the DeFi community to stop trading Bondly, the platform's native token, following a suspected exploit on Thursday. Even more interesting, the 60% tank in Bondly's price was attributed to a 373 million token mint on Ethereum. This huge mint was performed by the owner's address, so like a rug pull. But it doesn't stop there. As of yesterday, the active CEO Brandon Smith, who owned the address, is on a temporary leave of absence. Since the exploit, the token has lost 96% of its value. I'm not sure what to make of it. I read all their articles and I watched their videos. It just, I don't know, it seems too perfect. And this thing about the CEO stepping down also is kind of strange to me. And the fact that it was the actual CEO's address did the minting. But yeah, that's all for this week.
Thanks. I have spoken to, like, I was on the Bondly private sale like last year, and I talked to Brandon Smith like face to face, and he covered like his vision of the tokenizing social media accounts as NFTs, making them tradable, and how he has worked with his partner, who's also in Bondly, throughout kind of the bear market to trade the kind of online social media accounts. And it was very it seemed pretty legit. So I don't know, I'd give him benefit of the doubt, because he has been very kind of like front and center with being the face of Bondly and doxed since day one. So I doubt that it's like something like that obvious. Some stuff, a typical way that I've seen these kind of the things go down is like they deploy the whole project, and the contract itself is safe and well audited, but the deployer accounts, if they use some third-party developer, their deployment accounts sometimes get the wallets get compromised, because they don't use hardware wallets, and it's not the owner's wallet, for example. But yeah, if it's the CEO's wallet, it's kind of weird. Anyways, not going to speculate any more than that. Just be careful. There's going to be a lot of hacks, and sad thing for Bondly. I hope they recover. Cool. So next up, let's talk about low cap and layer 2 stuff. As usual, we have our head contributor Luke. So low cap and layer 2 is just a segment to talk about other non-categorized kind of altcoins in the space and what's new and what's hot, as well as Bitcoin dominance, which ties closely into that. So Luke, what's up? Take it away.
How's it going, guys? Yeah, so this week we saw a few other exploits, but let's open up with OMI, or Olympus DAO. And Olympus DAO is a pretty popular DAO right now, and currently they have these cards that flex for people to flex their APYs that they're currently earning. And they will be releasing a batch of 1,000 of these cards come Monday. So if you're interested in Olympus DAO, you can get in on this this batch of...
These cards are just kind of like they're... If you don't mind me jumping in, like the cards, they're like...
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, like Olympus is a rebasing project, right? But not in the sense that it comes from nowhere. It basically like the treasury generates revenue, and then the revenue is distributed slowly through rebases. And what that gives you is like, because it auto compounds, people are getting 10,000%, exactly 15,000% APY right now on the just staking one token, the OM token. So it's really attractive, and people are and there's a bunch of their community members as well as other kind of influencers in the space that are in this, and it's just a community campaign where some designers from the DAO says, okay, we're going to take your name and some avatar of yours online and the color, and say, okay, this person is earning 10,000% plus interest. What are you doing? Join Olympus DAO today, which has worked really well. Like their community focused, the community is extremely strong, and all of these like campaigns came from their community, which is very. I think it was one of the main things that drove me to put money down in this. Like the specific math, it wasn't as convincing, but the growth, I think, is mostly based on community. So this is basically that. The cards won't really sell for anything. I don't think they have any value. But yeah, if you found this and you saw this like 3-3 thing just this week, it's been going for like a month now. Look into it. It's very interesting. Probably pretty difficult to understand. We can cover it maybe more in depth this week if enough people are interested. But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the biggest community-driven projects that I've seen. Also, it's the 3-3 and then a parabolic curve also, and at the end of a name. Yeah. And yeah.
Oh, the parabolic name is the name is that one's Arc. That one's ArcX. It's not this.
Oh, that's ArcX. Yeah. Oh, my bad. Yeah, both of them are. ArcX kind of does have a pretty big community around it too, especially for how low cap it is. Bondly was exploited this week, and Mahi went over that. The exploiter minted Bondly, and then dumped on token holders. Unfortunate. The Thorchain was also exploited this week for around 4,000 worth of ETH, 4,000
ETH worth
of ERC20 tokens were drained from various liquidity pools. This wasn't bad Thorchain code, but instead this was a problem with the Bitfrost bridge code, and there was an override loop, and essentially the people were able to drain the pools for 2,500 ETH, 58,000 sushi, 8.7 urine finance governance token, 1,700 Dodo, 550 Alchemist, 1.17 million Caitlin and 13 Aave. So the user is able to make away with quite a bit of money. I think that's 8 million worth of various assets. And yeah, so it doesn't really have much to do with the Thor chain blockchain itself, but it was the Bitfrost bridge that made this attack happen.
Yeah.
So maybe not as bearish for Rune as it could be, but at the same time, it's probably not the best time to be picking up Rune right now on the market. Probably best to wait for this to clear. However, Rune also, or my bad, Thorchain has a pretty big treasury, so if you provided liquidity, then you're likely going to be covered for all of these assets.
Yeah, I think for a project Thorchain size, I think 8 million isn't. Like, exploit is bad, but 8 million for this kind of size, they'll more than likely recover. So it's good.
Yeah, I definitely believe in them long term, but it is just probably best not to be. Probably best for the entire report to come out and funds to be recovered and everything, in my opinion. Is an interesting project that I've seen this week is DeFi Land. And DeFi Land is a play-to-earn game built on various existing Solana DeFi protocols. So, using video games to help onboard newcomers, DeFi Land will leverage various existing protocols for swaps, liquidity providing, staking, governance, and other DeFi capabilities. In their first version, it's going to be swaps, liquidity providing, staking, governance, and a couple other things. And then they're going to release another version for lending, borrowing, and I have a full report somewhere. But it's a pretty interesting game, and it's all built on top of Solana. And then there will also be their own governance token that they'll release through to users. So this is an interesting protocol to watch out for, or an interesting project. The one thing I'll say about this is it seems like it could be really cool, but it also seems like it could be really bad at the same time. I think there's a pretty fine line between some games and various things that this is an interesting concept, and it could take off, being built on top of other protocols and whatnot. But at the same time, it's really kind of just using your current yield farming inside a video game.
Yeah.
So there's really nothing different than providing liquidity to Radium and then getting your yield that way, except this just puts it into a video game.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this reminds me really a lot of this other project called DeFiVille on ETH. I was tipped about this this is probably 6 months now. So they have these seasons, and they have these farms, and then they have LP farm, single token farm. Then there's if you go to a second season, they have an NFT shop, and then they have music, NFTs. So they're incorporating all the DeFi stuff as games now. It'll be very similar, under the hood, the stuff that they connect to, right? But I think it really just depends on how they design this game. If they're good game developers and if it's actually fun somehow, and maybe some sort of skill involved other than just farming, then if you have higher skill in how you farm and use DeFi, you have higher rewards. That'd be cool. But if not, then it's just kind of a front end with some quirky design slapped on top of DeFi. So yeah, it could be really good, it could be really bad. So
yeah. So it's something that I'm watching, but it's something with a grain of
Yeah.
salt also.
But I like their Attack on Titan team. That's interesting. And they got they have a lot of investors, but not some decent. Yeah, kind of a weird list of investors all over the place, but yeah, I don't know about this. But then again, it's Solana, right? Like a lot of these investors in the Solana ecosystem, like people are not very familiar with. But hopefully, here's what I think: since they're built on Solana and building a game, how I look at Solana projects is if you're going to choose Solana, you are kind of already handicapped because you don't build on EVM and you don't write Solidity. But the only upside is that Solana is kind of very its own, where you have to explore the capabilities of Solana to build projects that are so scalable and so feature rich that you just can't do it even on Polygon or BSC. If they can do something like that in a game and clearly show that whoever comes along and try to build this on BSC, they can't, that would be really cool. But if they build this and it's just you can also build it on BSC and Polygon, any other EVM chain, then that wouldn't be very good. So they really need to innovate here. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe they'll be interesting.
Yeah, and maybe with the release of their token on top of all these rewards might draw in a bunch of on top of these yield farming rewards might draw in a bunch of people. But at the same time, like you've mentioned, it would have to be something new and innovative that other chains can't do. So,
cool.
A little bit of content that I missed in event chat. I just put it in, and it's about Axies, and it covers their price to earnings ratio. And if you've, I don't have the graph pulled up, unfortunately, but
wow.
The Axie's price to earning ratio has actually dropped dramatically in the last coming months. So for those that don't know what this means is the price per token investors are willing to pay, they're now receiving a better return than they were months ago when they were paying. So ironically, like this guy was saying, ironically now, Axies is now cheaper than it was ever before, in the sense that it's generating more money per token that's currently in circulation.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an interesting development with this Axie Infinity token and their parabolic growth. But currently their servers are down and they're still having troubles with their servers and scaling. So we might see a little bit of a pullback here until everything's back up and running, and then I would assume the demand is back in full force.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a project, yes, the price and market cap can go up a lot, but you don't want to stand in front of a kind of moving train and say, okay, this is the top, this is the top. I see quite a few people already like calling, oh, is the run over, oh, it's too expensive now, I can't go any higher, but that's how you get wrecked. So just word of advice, if I were to trade Axie right now, I would rather long at the top than short at the top, because you can't call the top. That's why I'm not touching it yet. If it has a pullback, maybe I'll scale in, but right now just also still trying to learn. And I think that's a good segue to talk about our potential what's it called, the Axie scholarship program that we can set up as kind of part of BaconDAO, and it's good that we have Luke here because Luke is kind of leading this initiative with Bamzo. Sorry to put you on the spot. Is there anything that you want to cover specifically, or otherwise I'll just kind of give a brief overview and we can talk more specifics once it's
Why don't you give a brief overview, and I'll fill in
Sure.
everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, for people that don't know, just quick primer. So Axie Infinity is this game on the blockchain. You probably have heard of it now if you've been in crypto for the past, I don't know, month even. It's basically a Pokemon-like game where you have 3-on-3 battles. It used to be 3-on-3 when I played them. But now it's got a lot more kind of modes. And when you play the game, you can earn the AXS token and the SLP token. Okay, just SLP token. And the SLP token, because the game is kind of blowing up, SLP tokens is worth a lot, and it has a lot of utility if you want to actually play the game and breed the Axies and even make more money. So there's clear demand for the token, and people are generating the token by playing the game. So currently, I forgot the number, but you can make a pretty decent income by just playing the game, kind of even hourly. But the requirement is that you not only have to put in the time, but you also need to own a bunch of these Axies, right? And you need 3 of them to make a team. And the better the team, the more kind of expensive the Axies will be. So some people are just kind of buying their 3 Axies and playing the game and earning some money. While others, they can't really invest in like 6 to 10 ETH or so, I think, to buy a team of 3. So that's why there's these scholarship programs set up where, for example, a community with a treasury like the BaconDAO could buy a bunch of rare Axies that are strong. We set up a team, and then we set up an account where anyone can, not just anyone, but our players can log in that knows the game and can play it consistently, day after day, but doesn't really have the upfront investment to put into it. So we can enter into this symbiotic relationship where our BaconDAO members can log into our account, play the game with our Axies. So we provide the capital, you provide the time, and the money earned will be kind of split between the account managers, the BaconDAO treasury, and the players. So this is roughly how the scholarship works, and currently they're very profitable, from what I understand.
So users can make around 1,000 SLP a week by playing Axie Infinity, and the demand for the game is predicated on the earnings that they earn a week, right? So the SLP is what's important to watch, I think, for because it represents because it's used for breeding, and it kind of dictates the control of the cost of breeding these Axies, which then dictates the cost of Axies. So you can make around, currently at 25 cents, you can make around $250 a week, and just by playing Axies. I think the going rate now for a team would probably be around $1,200 for a pretty in meta team.
It's not too bad then.
Yeah, it's not too bad. There's other things you can buy in game, such as land and whatnot.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm currently just wanting to play the short term and the mid term on this, because once the demand for Axies is met, the inflation from the SLP token will be so rampant that it would drastically drop the demand for breeding, and then drop the demand for Axies. So both Axies and SLP are drastically inflationary, and currently the demand for the game is currently going unmet, and it's only big in the Philippines, and I think China is where it's the biggest right now. So just their demand from the game, it's currently going unmet. And if you go into the Axie Discord, you can there's probably close to hundreds of messages a day, people saying, this is my name, I live here, this is my phone number, and then they just try to get a scholarship. A lot of these scholarships are 50-50 split, but it depends, you have to learn the game, and you have to level up your Axies, so it takes a bit of time. As a DAO, I think this is definitely a good avenue to explore, because we can leverage both the scholarships for the people within our DAO and other people who we want to bring on as scholars. And we can also leverage breeding. So currently what me and Mr. Bamzo have set out to do is, and we're doing ourselves, is we're buying and accumulating these pretty pure Axies. So if you look on, each Axie has 6 traits, 6 dominant traits. And these dominant traits can, so if you click on an Axie, so if you, so if you scroll down, so the body parts there, those body parts, so that it has a beast eyes, and it has 2 pink bird traits, and then 2 fish. So those cards control what the Axie does in game.
Yeah.
And essentially what we're looking to do as a DAO is find the best cards that each Axie has. And there's various websites we can do to check and look up. One of these is Axie Zone. But as a DAO, we can find these really good cards and strong cards. And we can find the purest ones, and we can breed these cards. And essentially, there's a strong... essentially what we can do is, if we put up a little bit of a startup cost for these farms, we can buy 3 Axies, and we can start these breeding loops where we don't have to buy any more Axies, and then we have these pure lineages from these 3 original Axies. And essentially what we'd have to do from this point on, after the initial starting point, is just pay for AXS, the governance token, and SLP, which our scholars will be earning. And so we can both earn from these very pure, we can both earn profits from these very pure Axies and scholarships. And currently, with the demand going unmet, I think we have quite a bit of time, but we have a bit of time before this thing, before the inflation destroys the cost of Axies and SLP.
Yeah. So I think on that front, so a couple of things. It sounds like just for everyone listening, instead of just anyone putting down like $1,200 and we put down a bunch of $1,200 to recruit a bunch of people to play. Since we have Luke and Bamzo, who are kind of very very much diving into this game right now, we're trying to find the best way to leverage, because we have a decently sized treasury, to find the best way to use the initial upfront capital to generate to limit our risk and to make the best team and make sure that the profit generation is much faster for whoever wants to take part in our scholarship. But also, we have to walk through the specific process of how much, how many teams we're putting together, how expensive we want the teams to be, and based on sort of how much SLP they can generate, so the cash flow of them, how much money do we actually put into this, so that as a DAO we don't take on too much risk, because if we put all the money into like kind of scholarship programs, we're effectively long on the Axie Infinity project, which turns more into investment and less about cash flow. So we want it to be somewhat a little bit of a risk there for buying the Axies up front, but also cover our asses with mostly cash flow focused type of business. And we'll put all together all of these with numbers in a proposal for you guys to see hopefully soon, so that this can generate revenue for the DAO treasury, and the actual interested players can take part in the scholarships, and the DAO treasury can grow, and we can use that funds for other activities as well. So that's kind of overview there. Lots of honestly, if you still haven't tried it, you should definitely go check out this game. It's really leading the way right now. So there's a bunch of projects that are just solely spawning from the Axie Infinity, people playing Axie Infinity, gathering resources this way. So yeah.
And with the servers being down also, the price of Axies are dropping, and there is a little bit of a speculative aspect here. Is is the price of SLP going to drop, and then the price of all these Axies are going to drop a lot before the servers are back up? But I think right now might be a pretty good time to buy in, and we've seen this game is really popular, and it's making a lot of people a lot of money. And I think Aslokir even said that you can earn closer to $2,000, but I think it's you can definitely do over 1,000 SLP a week, and currently 1,000 SLP is $250 or $260 or something like that. So for 16 hours a week, I think it's a pretty good return if you guys are interested in playing a video game.
Yep, sounds good. We'll definitely get that started soon. Just just straight up, we want it to be clearly defined cash flow instead of like, okay, we speculate this will go up, because that, right, we don't want to make too many risky investments as a DAO, but when there's clear cash flows that can generate revenue for the DAO, we will do it. So look out for that. We're gonna have a proposal out soon. Okay, without dragging this on any further, let's talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, TA. Why don't we start off with Bitcoin dominance this week, since we have Luke here, so that we don't let him stay till the very end, because Bitcoin and Ethereum are mostly still the same from what I see, still within range. So I'll bring up the Bitcoin dominance chart here, and we can both speculate on it a little bit. So we have this diagonal trend line is the, I think, orange line on your chart from the past couple of weeks. We were also kind of watching the around 46% as kind of a short-term resistance. From what I see, still, like, just jumping in first, typically these shorter term, like within one day, the movements on Bitcoin dominance, I don't think they're as reliable. So typically I stop at the daily chart, and looking at the daily right now, right, we have this long-term diagonal, used to be support and now turned into resistance. I think this is better on the log, and now we made this kind of double bottom with a higher low. We broke above that, briefly came down to a retest, and now it's starting to see its first bounce. I would treat this as sort of a third low, kind of a higher low getting printed in, so potentially a uptrend getting confirmed, I think the last bit of resistance here is around 46.5% range. If you put it as the neckline of this double bottom here, right? We had a brief fake out, so you can't really call this here a clear break. Instead, it's kind of a fake, so we really need to see us clear above this, probably on a weekly scale, right? If we really want to see a long-term reversal, clear above 46.5% or so, close above, and then have a retest and then bounce. Once we see the bounce, I think very likely we move towards the around 60% range. At least to this bottom there, the next resistance at 53%.
Low 50s.
Yeah, low 50s. But yeah, that's just the first stop, right? So most likely we will kind of revisit here.
Yeah, I currently think Bitcoin dominance is at the point of it can only go up practically from here. If Bitcoin dominance retraces a lot, then Bitcoin loses a lot of liquidity, and it's probably going to break more supports, and Bitcoin dominance just shoots up again. That's one thing I've been noticing, is each time Bitcoin dominance kind of tracks back in these last couple days, Bitcoin has a real hard time holding that current range that it's in, so it pulls back, and then Bitcoin dominance goes back up. So if there is another Bitcoin dominance pullback here, I would assume that Bitcoin is going to be more likely to break the 31K support, and that's just going to cause Bitcoin dominance to skyrocket back up. So, in my opinion, I think Bitcoin dominance can really only go up right now.
Okay, I think I see what you mean. So because Bitcoin is around that 31K support, right? So if Bitcoin dominance goes up, okay, no, it should be the other way around. Okay, so if Bitcoin, let me just bring up the chart on the side here. BTC USD. So yeah, I still have the range here. Okay, so from 31 to like 41K. So if we break below 31K, that would be another round of panic, right? So obviously Bitcoin dominance will go up because people are speculating, okay, we're now in an official bear market. Everyone's exiting altcoins. Even though Bitcoin is going down, altcoins are going down faster, right? Scenario one. Scenario two is like any kind of recovery, right, is also making Bitcoin dominance go up. Is that kind of...
I think if Bitcoin kind of stays real mellow in this range, even if it goes up to 40, I think if 34K is pretty within range for the Bitcoin dominance right now. And I think if it just goes up easy to 35, 34K, if it just has a easy rally to there, then I think Bitcoin dominance can definitely go down and alts can take a little bit of a lead. But I don't currently see that in the market going on. So I'm not bearish on Bitcoin right here, but I just think pretty much any liquidity that Bitcoin loses at this point is just going to hurt it, especially right in this current range at 31,000 and a half.
Yep.
It's just kind of too close to the support. So I currently don't want to be holding too many alts right now is what I'm is what I'm starting to think. Yeah. Because we have this break down below, and then it's Bitcoin dominance goes up drastically, and then we can speculate that it trades sideways or can go up a little bit, but I think that's I think it's kind of likely that Bitcoin will do that, but I just don't know exactly what altcoins are going to do, and especially if
I can kind of show you
Bitcoin takes a volatile move. Then.
Like here's kind of what I learned from last summer, right? Is if you remember right after the end of DeFi summer, like right here, September 1st, 2020. Yeah. And then if you look at Bitcoin dominance, then let me just map the two charts together. Right around, pretty close, right around here. So, so I remember in my like insider reports back then, so I was always under the impression that, in these periods, in here and here, just to know that the bottom chart here is Bitcoin price, right? So when it was kind of going sideways, these two periods, you saw Bitcoin dominance going down here, right here, just kind of generally down. So this was alt season with DeFi summer, right? So then I thought, okay, since we now came down, right, and then this is technically consolidation, right? So here I was very bullish on altcoins. So I thought, okay, as long as Bitcoin kind of goes sideways, altcoin will go up. But it didn't really. It just kind of followed here. And like basically altcoins did not outperform Bitcoin. And then I remember I was very long here for DeFi and way too early.
Yeah.
And I lost a lot of money. So I kind of learned a lesson there, which was when Bitcoin is going up, when it's doing kind of uptrend, consolidation, another uptrend, consolidation, these consolidations are like periods of confidence where people are saying, okay, we made some money. Bitcoin is now kind of quiet. Okay, let's move the profits into altcoins. But then when it's dropping, right?
Yeah.
When it drops and then it consolidates, people are like, okay, I just lost some money. And then now Bitcoin is sideways. So I'm not sure again. I'm not moving into altcoins. That's what typically that's what I've seen has happened and what I deduce. So I think the point to jump into altcoins again is more like when it actually breaks the previous all-time high, or at least somewhat of a resistance. You see, after this DeFi summer following drop, we had a bit of consolidation, slowly inch up, and then a big kind of liquidity event actually break above the previous all-time high. And then you see around, not there, but October, right? This period was when Bitcoin dominance really started to shoot up again. So Bitcoin dominance going, sorry, not shoot up, but yeah, this was even worse because, okay, Bitcoin dominance went even more up, right? Even though Bitcoin started rallying, right, altcoins didn't catch up. And it only started to make sense again when Bitcoin had this rally and then it started consolidating, just similar to this move here, rally, consolidate, right? So this is why I'm also not so much bullish on altcoins right now. They will go up in dollar value if Bitcoin goes up, but in order for them to outperform Bitcoin, I think even if we have a major uptrend again, we break above 60K all-time high, I don't think altcoin will right away rally against Bitcoin. It needs to be like Bitcoin goes up above 60K, everybody's jumping into Bitcoin, then it goes to 80K, 90K, and then it consolidates. Once it goes into the consolidation, we should see some sort of drop in Bitcoin dominance where money is actually flowing back into altcoins again. So it's way too early for that. We especially in these post-crash consolidation, I don't think Bitcoin dominance will, decouple from Bitcoin, right? So that's a bit of, I don't know, fractal.
I think alts even retraced from October to November. I think they were even pulling back.
Yeah, like from this was weird, right? I was probably also long DeFi here, where
I definitely
instead I should have just long Bitcoin. it was so dumb.
I think the crypto money flow is what we need to be looking. We need to see a rally from Bitcoin, and then we'll see the trickling down effect.
Yeah, totally agree. So looking at right now, both the Bitcoin dominance. Let me just bring this up again. Both the Bitcoin dominance actual price chart, right, the bottoming pattern here, potential uptrend, as well as the money flow kind of fundamentals, which says we have seen a big crash. Bitcoin is still very not clear right now. People are not confident in crypto in general. So until we see a very clear, confident rally in Bitcoin upwards, altcoins are not going to outperform or even rally at all. So combining those 2 points, I'm not positioned in any altcoins aside from actually Ohm, because it's somewhat of an exception because people are in that not to speculate on the price, but more so on the on the yield. So technically it's more like farming. So yeah, if you are farming stablecoins, it is a good time, I would say. Or if you are still bullish on crypto in general, probably stay in Bitcoin instead of altcoins. That would be my bet. So that's why, I don't hold any ETH. I don't hold any major large caps right now. I converted all of them into Bitcoin. Yeah, so that's kind of how I see it. Anything to add, Luke? If not, I'll look at ETH.
No, I think yeah, I just have my class on Friday,
Yeah.
and yeah, we went over fundamental analysis this last week, and we went over stuff like PE and the and other stuff like that. So if any of you guys are interested in that, come check it out this Friday. But that's all for me.
Awesome. Thanks, Luke, for the altcoin Bitcoin dominance coverage. Yeah, feel free to jump off, and I'll just also look at ETH a little bit because people are very interested in ETH, specific TA. I gotta be honest with you guys, like ETH priced in dollar is very not clear to me right now. So if you look at, I've had these ranges for a long time, right? So this level is the previous all-time high without even looking at it. I know it is. If I just draw it out at 1420, right? If you zoom out long enough, you see it matches the January all-time high exactly. And then you see this is also the bottom of this previous consolidation, and then it's the top of the consolidation before then. So the horizontal levels are very clear, right? We had this consolidation here, right? We broke above, and then we consolidated again. We broke above again. So currently we are kind of testing the top of this previous range from 1420 to about 2K. Now fundamentally ETH is very strong, right? EIP 1559, the main news, right? Optimism, Arbitrum all kind of rolling out already. ETH, I would say, fundamentally stronger than ever. So if you're an investor and you're looking at multi-years, this is a brilliant time to pick it up, I think. But if you are trading and looking at, I'd say, less than 3 months, you want to see potential return, this isn't very clear against dollar. I think what's more important here is ETH versus Bitcoin, because even with all the fundamentally strong news on ETH right now, it's not really outperforming Bitcoin because of Bitcoin dominance. So people's confidence in crypto in general right now is just too shattered by the Bitcoin drop. So until Bitcoin recovers and makes a clear uptrend, ETH isn't going to kind of take the lead and just kind of decouple, even with all the fundamental news. We have never seen that happen with ETH decoupling from Bitcoin that way. And that's why when deciding short term, if I want to be positioned in Bitcoin or ETH, I'm looking at ETH versus BTC chart. And here's what I'm looking at. So first, there's the long-term resistance trend line here, dating back to September 2019. We had 3 tests of this trend line. And if you zoom in a little bit here, this was briefly broken. So we turned it into support, and then we tested once, but then we made a lower high here and then broke below that and is now kind of retesting it as resistance again. So I have said this before, right around this range, I made a bunch of TikTok videos saying that I've converted my ETH into BTC because we printed this kind of double top, and this to me shows that ETH is going to lose value against Bitcoin, at least in the short term. And I had a target about down here, right? This range, if you map a price range from the current, is about a 30 to 40% drop, ETH versus Bitcoin. So this means ETH to dollar value might stay still or even rally a little bit. but I'm positioned in Bitcoin because if Bitcoin kind of stays still, I think ETH will drop a little bit more. If Bitcoin kind of rallies, I think ETH will lag behind simply because of the money flow. You know, people are confident in Bitcoin first, and then they will move into ETH. So we should see this drop first before it can rally, actually, when confidence sets in again for crypto in general. And then what's the third scenario? The third scenario is if Bitcoin breaks below the 31K and starts a new clear downtrend, ETH is not going to survive. ETH is going to drop even harder. This is kind of, everyone already knows this. So all three scenarios point to ETH BTC potentially going down. Now, when I say this kind of potential 30% drop, what I'm expecting, people think I'm like very bearish on ETH. That's not the case, right? If you just compare side by side, right, ETH versus Bitcoin, both of their dollar values, what would that look like? So on the right here, I have Bitcoin. On the left, I have ETH. So all we need is a 30% pump on ETH, which is just to like 41K, right? So it's pretty much right around the top of this range, right? It's at 42. It should probably be 41K we're watching here, right? If Bitcoin moves to back up to test the top of this consolidation range, while ETH kind of stays still here, right? This is all we need, right? For Bitcoin to move to 41K, ETH kind of stays still around 2K, not necessarily dropping. This would show on the ETH to USD, ETH to BTC chart, a 30% drop, right? This seems very significant, but this is all it takes, is ETH staying still, Bitcoin rallies, right? When you put it in this kind of perspective, it's not so unbelievable anymore. So I'm not necessarily bearish on ETH dollar value. I think around 2K, you know, is a pretty good range to pick up. It's historically speaking, like, we are not that far from the previous all-time high, right? We're already testing the top of this like range just above the previous all-time high. So, you know, I wouldn't short ETH at all here. So that's why, you know, when I converted my ETH, it wasn't back into fiat. That would be shorting ETH. Instead, I was converting into Bitcoin. So basically, I'm longing Bitcoin with my ETH, right? So that was the move I took. So that's why, you know, if you fundamentally just love ETH so much and you are willing to invest in it long term, yeah, I would say, you know, anything from like 1420 to 2K, good level to pick up. I would do it. But if you are speculating a bit shorter term, I would say more likely than not, Bitcoin will recover first than ETH, right? So Bitcoin is probably going to outperform ETH for a bit. And the same goes for most other altcoins out there. They all follow this same pattern. Because not only is it ETH BTC showing the double top pattern. Let me show you something very interesting here. So we have a double top here in ETH BTC, right? And potentially printing a third top now. So this is showing ETH underperforming Bitcoin. We should be positioned in Bitcoin first. How do we use the same pattern for all other altcoins? There's this thing called Bitcoin dominance, right? You guys know, but if you do, because Bitcoin dominance is a percentage, if you do 100 minus Bitcoin dominance, here you effectively have what's called altcoin dominance, right? So this is basically the inverse of Bitcoin dominance, or how much of the total market cap of crypto is currently in altcoins. And you see, this is very similar, these two charts, right? Triple kind of three higher lows here, three lower highs here, three lower highs here, right? So basically, it's the same chart, right? The reverse of Bitcoin dominance and ETH BTC. What this essentially shows us is, yes, most legit altcoins that have good fundamentals and have dropped a lot, they might not drop in dollar value anymore. So if you just believe in this so much, like Polkadot, Kusama, Cardano, Chainlink, all the good coins, Binance Coin, right, FTT, Solana, if you've done so much research and you want to invest in them long term, and they have dropped a lot, dollar wise, they might be okay, right? It might be okay level to start picking up again. But if you are expecting them to outperform Bitcoin in the next 1 to 3 months, chances are that's not going to happen. They will, at best, follow the same trajectory as Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin pumps 30 to 40%, the altcoin you pick is probably going to pump 30 to 40% max. They're not going to outperform until Bitcoin clearly, becomes very, very bullish again, and then starts consolidating, and then you'll see the specific altcoins you pick up start to outperform again. That's why I have a lot of altcoins that I want to buy at these like low levels, but I don't think the timing is right just yet. I think altcoins overall have about, okay, what's this from the current to this low here? Yeah, at least a 15 to 20% drop against Bitcoin. So any altcoin that you want to pick up, just for trading purposes, unless they're very, very specifically like you see they're something fundamentally different from them, I would say give it some time, right? Don't get sucked into their individual performance. Let's say, take an example like, I don't know, Binance Coin. If Binance Coin pumps 20 to 30%, don't get sucked into it and say, okay, look, this thing is pumping in dollar value. I missed this, right? Why didn't I buy it? Because more likely than not, if you just compare it side by side with Bitcoin, Bitcoin will most likely also have pumped that much, if not more. And this probably will be true for most altcoins, because this is proving to be true for ETH. And ETH, if any coin is individually strong and can potentially decouple from Bitcoin, is ETH, right? And if ETH is not even doing that, then most other altcoins are probably not going to do that. Don't know if that makes sense. That's kind of a bit very in depth, but that's kind of how I'm seeing the market right now. That's why most of my trading position is still in Bitcoin right now. I'm gonna ride the next wave, whether it's up or down, doesn't matter. Until the next Bitcoin trend is clear, then I'll decide if looking at Bitcoin again, right? It's the key range 31 to 41K. If we break below 31K, I'm not going to move my money from Bitcoin back into fiat. I'm probably either going to hold Bitcoin or just sell a bit for fiat. I'm not going to move into more altcoins. Now, if we break above this range, then once we start consolidating, right, at these kind of higher levels, I'll probably move some of my Bitcoin profits into altcoins. And the third scenario is, as long as we're within this range, I'm just holding Bitcoin. I'm not doing anything else. So that covers literally everything that I'm doing, right? Hopefully, if you're looking for specifically what I'm doing right now, this is what I'm doing, right? So it covers every single scenario, right? If we range within this range, I'm just holding Bitcoin. If we break below 31K, I'm looking to probably sell a bit of my Bitcoin on the retest for fiat and bracing for a larger impact, a larger move down. If we break above, then when it consolidates again, I'll move into some altcoins. All three scenarios, I think that's useful because it clearly gives you the entire picture. Okay, so that's about it for all of the TA coverage for this week. And let's just take maybe 10 minutes to do a brief Q&A. If you guys can, if you have any questions, drop them in the events chat. And if you want to see, if you have specific things you want to see for next week, drop them in the DAO ideas chat in the Discord. I'll also start a thread on our forum. We're actually building up our entire forum. It's going to be ready very soon. So we'll have a category that anyone can propose topics for us to cover for the next week. So stay tuned for that. And we did have a vote for this week. And we already went through the top topics that people wanted to see. But starting next week, we will sort of cut back a little bit more of the stuff that people aren't so interested in, and just focus on what the top voted things are. And yeah, we'll see. I'll put together a proposal. Hopefully you guys will be able to participate a little bit more. So yeah, let's do a bit more questions. Look at events chat. There are actually a bit of interest in on-chain analysis. I've seen people propose that. We actually have a person that's a member of a community that really is good at on-chain analysis. And someone has actually put through a vote in DAO votes for us to cover on-chain for future weeks. So we'll try to incorporate that. Maybe I'll talk to this specific member for him to maybe come on the call next week, or put together some sort of a first report, and then we'll learn together. So yeah, that's something that I myself want to learn as well. Okay, I see discussions about Thorchain hack. Yeah, hopefully they can pull through. And let me look at the Bitcoin, the YouTube chat a little bit. Just to see what kind of questions we have. Okay, let me pop out the chat here. Ken Lee asked, can you explain about layer 2 OE? I'm guessing you mean optimism EVM. I'm not sure what OE stands for here, but yeah, optimism is Optimism and Arbitrum are kind of the most closely integrated layer 2 solutions for Ethereum. So they don't have any side chains that can run standalone. It's just the tooling, the developers, and the approach they take is very kind of dependent on the native Ethereum ecosystem, right? So your MetaMask, your Coinbase wallet, Uniswap, Synthetics, Chainlink, all these base layer, not base layer, but infrastructure protocols integrating Arbitrum or Optimism for this to work. So yeah, so Optimism and Arbitrum are still kind of what people are most excited about, and what people say are most promising. Simply because of this fact. It's all the native Ethereum ecosystem will be very closely integrated with it. Instead of, your Binance Smart Chain or your Polygon, right? When you have Uniswap on Binance Smart Chain, it's another project, it's PancakeSwap, right? And then on Polygon, it's QuickSwap. So it's another ecosystem. Instead, with OE and with Arbitrum, it's the same ecosystem. And it's within the same Ethereum that is within Uniswap. You just toggle, or you just by default enable Arbitrum or Optimism support, and then it just becomes faster. The user doesn't even realize it, right? And once it's well supported in all your wallets, in MetaMask, in Coinbase Wallet, in Wallet Connect, etc., you don't even notice it, right? And that's the promise that it wants to deliver. I see some specific project shows. I'm not going to talk about them. The Wolf says much quality info and awesome Discord group. Thanks. Yeah, that's kind of what we're trying to strive for here. Yeah, join our Discord group if you guys think this content is very interesting. And we're not trying to be super big. I mean, we already are on Discord, but we want to keep it very organic. So only produce what people see are interesting. I bought my Axie team at a peak price. Am I in trouble? I'm bullish, but seeing the prices go down is scaring me. I'm a bit late. Haha, catching up. Just finishing Axies, watching at 2x. Yeah, I don't know. Even as our own DAO, right? If we put together a proposal, even for just with my own money, I wouldn't speculate on specifically the Axie prices. That's not something that interests me as much, because when we set up scholarships that can clearly generate revenue and have a potential, what we went through was $250 per month or per week. I think it was per week. Yeah, $250 per week. $1,200 to set up a whole team, and that's 5 weeks to recoup your initial investment. That's attractive. We're not so regardless of the price of those Axies going up or down, right? That's something that attracts people, that attracts DAOs and big funds to invest and big scholarship communities to set up. Ironically enough, that's what drives the price of the Axies that you're speculating on actually going up, right? If there is not the consistent cash flow anymore, the price of Axies will also tank. So when you're speculating on the price of Axies, you're kind of just speculating on the cash flow still being very good, right? So that's why for us, and even for myself, when we set up the scholarships and our initiative as a BaconDAO together to use the treasury, buy up Axies, set up teams, the main metric that we want to look at is how fast we can generate revenue and how fast the potential, the initial investment can be recouped. That's the important metric. It's not so much like, okay, the trend of Axie price is going up. That's not reliable, right? That's effectively buying any other coin. It's not unique to Axie. What's unique to Axie right now is using the Axie teams, using our community to actually generate income that's at a much faster rate than anywhere else, like with farming or with any other crypto asset, right? No farm can generate can recoup the initial investment in 5 weeks time. There's none, right? So that's why that's the opportunity, not the Axie price, right? So just a bit of how I look at it.
Also, if I could just jump in real quick, once we have met the demand for all of our scholarships, we can also then sell on and speculate on the price of our Axies, because we'll still be breeding these Axies. So if we do want to onboard new members, we'll have more Axies also, but we'll also have the surplus of Axies as we gain more SLP. So we can also be selling on and speculating on these Axies. But yeah, it is the scholarships that are the thing to watch.
Yeah, I think it comes down to specific strategy, right? Like if obviously we want to be best positioned in the time and enter in a time where we think Axies are cheap and they could potentially go up. We obviously don't want to buy the top, but we're not going into it solely for the purpose of buying low and selling high, right? Because then we're not recognizing the uniqueness of the opportunity here, the Axie scholarships. The unique opportunity here is the main cash flow. When we are able to enter in, set up the cash flow and entering at a good time where there's good cash flow, chances are Axie prices will go up, right? If we are able to recognize where the main cash flow is, then the Axies will pick up. We'll probably be the ones that appreciate as well. But if we come in first as, okay, which Axies are cheap, which Axies, how much upside potential they have, then we're kind of missing the point. So yeah, and that's kind of my 2 cents. But yeah, I think Luke and Bamzo are leading the way here, and excited to support them however we can. And I think as long as the numbers make sense, the community will be more likely to vote on, supporting, allocating a decently sized part of our treasury to fund this initiative. Crip Ing says, thank you so much, Liu, joining the Discord, call to stream. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, if you're interested in our Axie chat and what we're doing right now, jump into the I think the gaming chat, and also we have the we actually have a private Axie team, which is just the couple managers that are just brainstorming the first version of the proposal. But yeah, jump into the chat, and we will be happy to talk more Axie with you. Kenley asks, where can I find for cross-chain cases the original token contract address, like from ETH to BSC, and how Optimism ETH can improve the gas fee on layer 2? That's very technical. I don't know I'm sure at the bridge level, the token contract for the original and the contract address on the actual layer 2 will be within the same contract. That's most likely how it's designed. How Optimism ETH can improve gas fees on layer 2, right? So Optimism works, and Arbitrum probably works the same way, by batching transactions together. So you have this other chain that doesn't, not even other chain, but other place that executes a bunch of transactions without submitting to the main Ethereum chain to update the state, right? So for example, if it's Uniswap using our Optimism, right? It might be, I make 100 trades, right? Typically on mainnet Ethereum, every time I make a trade, the chain has to update my balance, the other person's balance, right? And the Uniswap pool. But if I use Optimism, it might be on this other place, I trade once, twice, 3 times, right? As long as I keep that tab open, the main Ethereum chain doesn't actually know, like, update our balances, right? And only when I want to settle the balance with all of the trades that I've done, does the Ethereum chain update the state. So this way, it's the state update and the kind of smart contract you have to execute is much less, right? So you don't consume nearly as much gas. So you save on a lot of gas, and you save on all the gas fees. And these side places on Optimism can be more application specific as well. So that improves the transaction speed, right? So yeah, for some use cases, it can be settled much more quickly. It's customized. Okay, I think that's it for the YouTube chat as well. I'm just gonna check on the Discord chat a little bit more. Can we hear about Bacon the whitelist closest today? Yeah, so we held a BaconDAO Discord whitelist for the Bacon token. I think it was put out on Monday. It closed, I think I don't even remember if it's Friday or Saturday, Sunday, but yeah, by now it's probably officially closed. This is just very private, right? We want to give the actual long-term members and people that right away will see this announcement in our Discord and have verified themselves since a long time ago, that actually want to join BaconDAO with the tokens and will want to participate in the community, people that join the community calls. These are the people that we want to give allocations to. So yeah, we'll most likely put out the whitelist announcement very soon, probably in the next day or so. We'll verify that you are for sure a verified member in our community, in our Discord, and we'll just do a randomized draw. Yeah, it's not a lot of people, but we want to get the core community in there. Asif Bashir asked, right now, do you think traders will focus more on launchpad projects rather than day trading? I mean, at this chart pattern of Bitcoin. No. Launchpad projects, I mean, they still have their initial pumps. If you can get into whitelists for private sales, yeah, they still have like 2-3x of gains from the initial, but you have to be a private sale investor. You can't just be like buying on listing, because typically they're just IDOs, right? And IDOs tend to like have initial pump and then a bit dump, and then, like, you know, depending on how the fundamentals are, they kind of recover or not. Yeah. Okay, so Luke posted a Axie Infinity's PE ratio chart. This is interesting. Yeah, let me show this. So here you have Axie Infinity's, the AXS tokens fully diluted market cap in blue, and the PE ratio in purple or pink. And you see, so PE ratio is like for each token, right, or each share in this case of the project, how much revenue are you earning, right? This is a very typical ratio that you see in stock market, right? To actually value a project, right? If they're earning a lot of money and even if their market cap is growing, if the PE ratio is going down, then that's actually the project is more undervalued than before. And you see the PE ratio here used to be from January to April, like 100 to 400x. But ever since May, market cap has went up a lot from like 1 billion to like almost 6 billion, fully diluted, right? But the PE ratio went down so much more. So yeah, you can take it for how you will, right? PE ratio is kind of debatable in crypto world, but it clearly shows that yeah, this uptrend in market cap is kind of justified, and you wouldn't want to stand in front of this train, right? This is still clearly uptrend. This market can go up, stay irrational for much longer than you can stay solvent. So I wouldn't be shorting this. No. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, thanks everyone for jumping in this week's BaconDAO community call. I think that's about it. We've covered pretty much everything here this week. It's been a very pleasant and in-depth call. Yeah, HQ. I mean, I think as long as the form didn't close, we'll probably take everyone as part of the raffle. It's not so much about shutting down a specific date, first come first serve, but more so like making sure that everyone is verified and an actual member. But yeah, I think that's it for this week. Thanks for joining in. And for now, for next week's call, if you guys could post your ideas here in the DAO ideas chat. I just pinged everyone here in the channel there, and we'll do a kind of a vote process either here in the Discord or through the forum if we can set it up ASAP. But yeah, we'll for next week we'll still cover the same topics like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin dominance, etc. But we will maybe just take a couple ideas that we think are reasonable and start there and try to incorporate a bit more interactivity from the DAO members for next week. Okay, thanks guys. Signing off for this week. Thanks for joining in. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.